Okay, you'll be taking your first exam soon. And a couple of general points. The exam is scheduled for Monday. And since it's an asynchronous course, all the times that we had for our course got erased. There is no specific time. The exam is a 75-minute exam. And when you start it, you'll need to finish it. So when you open it up, you then will be committed to take the exam. And those of you that have registered with the accessibility office that need special arrangements in terms of time or whatever, that's already been taken care of. So not a problem. So sign on, take the exam. And if you have a difficulty, sometimes a computer will malfunction and you'll lose the internet, you'll lose something, and then you'll get kicked out. So you email me. I'll be around if you have that problem. Second thing is that the exams are honor code. You need to close your notes, your books and things, and take the exam with just the calculator and scrap paper. And there's a calculator at the top of the page. So I made my exams so when you open them, like just click at the top, you get a cute little calculator that you can use. So it's an honor code, closed book, closed notes, closed people. In other words, you take the exam on your honor, on your own. And I trust you. I mean, this is the online procedure. Okay, so that said, we want to also point out to you that physics exams often are curved. So if you're having like psychological, you're saying, "Oh my, I'm not getting many of these right," don't panic. But when I do my review for you in a second, I want to remind you that there are advanced ways to get the questions in advance so that you can see how well you do. And that's going to be coming up. So if you're doing those practice questions and you're getting consistently 9 out of 10 right, you're not going to have that problem. In fact, you probably wind up with over 100 if the exam is curved. So we're going to be talking about that. But just remember psychologically that physics exams, chemistry exams, astronomy exams, they're often curved. And that's true in this class. I often give a curve. I give the going rate. The going rate in the sciences is about a 78 average. It's a C+. If you're used to other courses, it's possible in other courses and other disciplines, the going rate is an A. Everyone gets an A. That's different in science, so you want to be accustomed to the culture of science, and this is true in the United States at large, that the grades are lower, a C+. So just bear that in mind also, so you're not hard on yourself. You understand that. This is not like it in the humanities or in the social sciences where the GPAs are generally higher. All right, so I'm going to go over a little review for you here on how to approach the exam, how to study, and what to do. And you can apply this then for all the exams in the course. Regular way, here's how you're going to sign in to your exam. You're going to go to the website, but not log in. You're going to move down to where it says exam login. And when you click that, you're going to pick E1 for the first exam. These are the exams for the 102 class, and these are the lab exams. So for the first exam, you want this one here. When you click on that, a window will open, and you're going to log in with your usual login and password. I'm going to go log in here. And when you do that, the exam will pop up. First thing you want to do, go ahead and click on that to get a calculator. And your calculator, you can keep it right there. What I do is maybe, oh yeah, perfect. I like to always see the calculator when I'm doing the exam. So that's perfect. This is perfect. Say like this. And you get to see, look, several questions. So then this is very easy to, you just pick you want to change your answer like this. If you want to erase it and come back later, that's cool. So that's how you do it, see, like this. Fill this out, and all the questions are there. And then here, the answer sheet, when you want to turn it in, like don't end the exam unless you're sure. Here, you want to make sure everything's filled in. So the answer sheet lets you see in one glance, that say, oh, I missed some. Now here, of course, you missed answering a lot of questions because we just started. So there you go. Just go back and forth, and you're all set. So you just scroll down there and just answer away or erase or change your answers. When you're finished, that's when you end the exam. Notice though that I have your exam before you end it, because if there's a power failure, I don't want you to lose your answer. So every time you click one of these, I got it. It's like I collected your exam. So I have your exam at all times. So if you get a power failure, not a problem, we can get you back in. But if you do this, then you're going to be exiting the exam. Boom. That's it. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm going to go look for the goodies. Downloads has the goodies. Lots of goodies here. So I'm going to look down and see, here we go, exams and guides. Definitely a place to start. Physics 102, exam guides. And I'm taking the exam, if you want to make sure, the quick info, this is showing you September E1 is being taken next Monday, see? And then the lab exams the following week. So E1 covers A to G, so that's what I'm interested in. So I go back here and go to E1, and when that opens up, I get something like this. And what I'm going to do is look at these like points. It says that the resources include the exam guide, which is this file, and then the power notes with answers. It says it condenses the material for exam 1 into a concise set of notes. So that would be these here. Let's just go ahead and pick one. Let's pick the F1. And these are your power notes with answers. Notes from the class. Eh? And you can look at these in the sense as being my notes. So you can compare with your notes and make sure you have everything in order. So that's good. And then it says Silver Bullet Review. This is a special review, power notes condensed to 2 pages. Some students like it. And I was fascinated when I was in college to go to the bookstore and find these laminated sheets that had so much stuff on 2 sides. And they would sell like for calculus and for French and things like that. So that's the Silver Bullet Review. And this condenses everything to 2 like sides, like the material for the exam. It's got like 99%, and like it's good, real good. Got so much stuff on there. Even has the people down at the bottom, see, that you need to know down in here. So you want to know this cold, all right, and memorize all this good, it's not that hard to memorize these things actually. 2L, 2 over 2, 2 over 3, 2 over 4, F, 2F, 3F, 4F. So you can study that. And then if we come here to old exams and solutions. So here, let's look for old exams and solutions. Here we go, old exams and solutions from the good old days of paper exams. So here's exam 1, and that exam 1, if you want the solutions, you just hit S1. And this is like me tutoring you. I'm giving you the answers and explaining the answers when you have math and stuff to do. So very, very powerful. Just think of this as being tutored by your instructor. If you look at this, and there's so much here, you get several exams. You get like 4 years worth. So that's very, very good. And let's go back to the sheet here. We'll see what's next. Tutorials. So these are like questions people ask me over 20 years to help study for the exam, and I made videos. So now you can look here for the tutorials and see for exam 1, you can see all these little tutorials, and they're like short, like 5 minutes or so. So here's one like on beats, and that one there, 3 minutes. Doc, want a short? 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So let's see what else we have. We have the exam practice. Okay, so we go to exam practice. That's the menu, exam practice, E1 hit me. So let's do some of those. Let's go over there and hit those now. Exam practice, E1, and hit me. So this is a question that comes from the pool, and you might get this question on exam. Danica Patrick. It's one of our videos illustrated. Now, when you see race cars, it's not going to be Chladni plates. No way. Not diffraction. Doppler. When the cars come toward you, no way. It's Doppler. That's the one. And then you can click here and see it's C. That's it. See, hit me. What is the wavelength for a 34 hertz sound wave? That one requires you to use the formula. The velocity is the wavelength times the frequency. And since you're given the frequency and the wavelength, there's only one formula that is going to be useful, and that's the one, the velocity. V is lambda times F. And the velocity you need to memorize, 340 meters per second for sound. So 340 equals what number times 34? Well, the answer is 10. So that's the wavelength. 10, B. Hit me. What is the wavelength here of B if this one is 60? Now, I look at this and see 3 things, and I see 4 things. I know that it's a ratio problem, 3 to 4, 4 to 3. So I'm use common sense. This one here is squeezed more compared to that. This is shorter. If that's shorter, I have to use 3/4. And 3/4 of 60, you can use your calculator. 4 goes into 60 15 times, and 3 would be 45. It'd be B. See? And the way we did this in the homework, we said, I used like my mom as an example. My mom has 3 figurines on the mantle, and she wants to replace with 4. She would have to measure the mantle. Well, what's the mantle? Well, it's 3 of these. It's 180. And then once you have the 180, the mantle you divide by 4, and then you get your 45. So that was the way I suggested to think of it in the homework. The frequency ratio of the 6 harmonic to the preceding one. Well, the preceding one is 5, so that's 6 to 5. See, 6 to 5. They're harmonics. Hit me. If you had the period, what happens to the frequency? Well, the frequency is 1 over T. So if the T, or just think of it in common sense, if whatever you're doing, if you're going to take half the time to do it, then you can do twice as much. You can do twice as much. So that's going to be D, doubles. So you can just think of that more like common sense. Like the period would be, say, the time it takes builders to build a house. And if they can have it doing half the time, well, then they'll build the frequency of doing it will be twice. It'll be twice the frequency. All right. So that's kind of neat. It's neat that you can reason some of these out. Now, if you want to use the formula, that's cool. If you have F, there's 1 over T. So you take T to be 1, F is 1. And then if you take T to be a half, you get 2. So there's many ways of doing these problems. A lot of times you can use common sense, but you can also use the math and the formula. What is the frequency if it dribbles a basketball? Let's see, dribbling, it's going to go up and down 6 times in 3 seconds. All right, 6 times in 3 seconds means you're doing it 2 times per second. If you're doing it 6 times in 3 seconds, it's 2 per second. And since there are 60 seconds, that's going to be 120. It's 120. See? And this one here, which is how many half waves? Well, half wave is either a mountain or a valley. See, that's a full wave there, a mountain and a valley. So if you want half waves, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just count the hums. 8 hums should be E. So you get the feel for this. If you do enough of these, you're going to be seeing the questions on the exam. All right, I think that we're going to go here to look at the next thing. You got student notes, Krista notes, menu, downloads, Krista student notes. So we go downloads and Krista student notes. This is an example of a student, my daughter, taking notes in class, and these are her notes. So this is another resource to see the notes from the perspective of a student. And these are supplemental notes. She also had the power notes, and she was filling those sheets out too. But these are like the notes she took in class. It's kind of nice to see that. All right, so we go on and see what the next thing is. And there's the PDF text. Yeah, there's always the book. And yeah, some folks like to read the book. I mean, it's good to read the book. I don't force you to read the book. Of course, I like to think my lectures are clear. You don't need the book, but I mean, this is a reference, and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to like look at the textbook. All right. So other teachers probably don't like me talking like this, cavalier about textbooks. Say, read the text, read the text. But I figure if you come to class and you understand what I'm doing, this is more of a reference than a necessity. All right, so you got that, and let's see what else we have. and we have extra credit. So, in other words, a lot of students study by extra credit too. If you go to the chapters, for example, and go here to say chapter A, these are extra credit. And some of these questions here are going to be similar to questions that you get on the exam. Now, you want the best way to study for the exam questions. Definitely is to hit me, because they are the questions. These are the questions. I mean, this is it. These is it. So most students will go here for the most time, spend the most time, and then time. Always plan time. So here, during the 15-week mode, which is what we're in in this fall 2020, no lab is assigned during that week of the exam. And lab, we budget 3 hours. Like in science class, it's 3 hours. So you should at least study 3 hours. I mean, you use the lab, the freed up of having no lab to do 3 hours. And then, the regular studying from just taking a lecture course part, you can add to that. So I asked two students who had the top score a couple of years ago, and the two students got over 100 points because the exam was curved, and a good chance your exam will be curved. And they each said 6 hours, which makes sense. There's 3 hours here because there's no lab, and plus the 2 or 3 more hours. That's reasonable when you use the recommendations for 2 hours outside of class for every hour in class. So here, one of them used the HitMe's, and when the student did not know the answer, would go to the notes and study. The other student said, "No, HitMe's to me is too random. I want to go to those old exams, and I know you're covering everything in those old exams. So if I look at those and looked at all 4 exams, I really have a comprehensive review and everything is covered." So one student did that mainly and got the over 100, and the other student did the HitMe's because that student said it was boring to look at the old exams. He'd rather play the game. He says HitMe's like a game. Like, hit me, give me a question, see if I can answer it. All right, and then there's a sample exam here. See, this is good, and all the answers are here and explained. So we got here more than enough, and we respect your learning style, and hopefully with all the 10 things we've talked about there, you pick the method that works best for you. But, common thing is time. You do need the time, and hopefully you didn't miss class. You didn't miss many assignments, because if you miss class and you miss the assignments, you're then going to be at a great disadvantage in doing these HitMe's and trying to make these work. So what's this one? The distance between the red coat and the tree is 18 feet. What's the wavelength? Well, here's the full wave. And the full wave, how many are there? There's 3 of them. So if there's 3 of them in 18 feet, it's got to be 6 feet. Just divide. And that's B. Okay, well, good luck on the exam. The exam is online, and when you get your exam, by the way, when you get the exam, you're going to get at the top of the page, I have these calculators. Just click on one of those and it opens right up. All right. So you can you get your calculator right there, no problem. And then you just take multiple choice test. All right. Good luck.